To our first whatnot. I can't believe this. We decided to join the Bead Bonanza last Friday, and we are brand new to even thinking about whatnot. And it's been a race to the finish line here. So we're testing it out today. We're multi-streaming to our Facebook page for Softlex Company, as well as our YouTube channel. Whatnot works in a vertical format. So those of you on YouTube, I know you love horizontal, but you'll have to put up with vertical today for this particular program. So for anyone who's brand new, I'm learning about Whatnot as well. It started in 2019. It's a fairly new company. It's a live sale platform. And from what I can tell, it's sort of like eBay in that you can auction things off or you can set a firm price but sell things. And but anyone can do it, and you can work together with other sellers to pass customers along. So, for example, on Friday morning when I'm all done, I'm at 10 a.m. Pacific time. When I'm all done with my show, I can pass everybody who's interested in beads, everyone viewing, onto the next person in line, which I think is kind of exciting and nice because then you as a viewer can sort of keep meeting new people and find out more about some other sellers out there that are selling lots of unique and different things. So for today, since this is my very first Whatnot, I'm going to suspect that some of you don't even know who I am or the company that I work for. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Then I'm going to show you some really fun products that are already listed for the Bead Bonanza in our marketplace and attached to this video. I'm going to make a bracelet using our products because at the heart of everything, Softlex Company is a beading wire manufacturer. We make lots and lots of different bead stringing wire in lots of different diameters and colors, different preferences for how flexible it is, and just all sorts of stuff. We're also a manufacturer of craft wire. We make crimps too. And then we sell lots of things that we've come across. Softlex Company has been around for around 30 years. We're based out of Sonoma, California. So we are not a new company by any means. And people all over the world use our bead stringing wire. I like to think it's the best bead stringing wire out there. I've heard that often from many of our loyal customers. But I have some of it here to share with you. So I'm going to try flipping down my camera without making a complete and utter fool of myself. We'll see how it goes, right? Thank you guys for being here with me today. I wasn't sure if there'd even be anyone here. Because this is so new to us and we just started advertising it today. Awesome. Rebecca says she loves her Softlex, and we've all been there to do shows on Whatnot. No worries. Awesome. Sweet. Okay. So this is Softlex beading wire here. It comes in lots of other colors and diameters. It was really hard for me to pick what to bring for the Bead Bonanza. But at the end of the day, I decided I needed to have every single diameter in Softlex. There's actually one thinner diameter that I don't have in Soft Touch. But for stringing, you use the fine. For pearls, seed beads, and light weaving, I use it for like African helix seed bead weaving. We were just using it on a Murex loom on my live show on YouTube. And you can check that out at the Softlex Company on YouTube. So it's really thin. It's still super strong. It's 21 strands of stainless steel. It has a 10-pound break strength, which means this is tested like a fish running down river, this test strength. So a 10-pound fish that was running as fast as it could downriver would maybe possibly snap this 014. So you can imagine it's pretty strong. The reason why we suggest the lighter materials and doing, I guess, softer things on it is because beads are like little knives. They just spin and cut and cut and spin. And 014 has a thinner nylon coating than the two that we're going to look at next. And so it just works better with daintier, softer, lighter materials for long-term wear. So we're talking the rest of your life wear. And I'm going to give you, best case suggestions. Lots of people, including the wonderful Kate Richberg from beadshop.com, use 014 for everything. They just do. They love it. They think it's really flexible. And but I tend to think it would be better to keep it on some of those lighter projects for if you're making designs you want forever, right? Okay. So here in the center is a mixture of colors in our medium diameter. This is the diameter that most people use. It is for all sorts of things. If you're mixing and matching lots of different materials, say you have pearls, but you also have seed beads, which have small holes, but then you're adding in like Bali silver, check glass, Austrian crystals, those things that have a little bit of a sharper edge to them and are really going to wear down your material. So this will fit a small hole, the 019 inch, but it can handle things that are more abrasive. Hi, Pauline. I'm so glad to see all of you guys here. Thank you for joining me and not letting me just sit and talk to myself on my very first whatnot. I really appreciate it. So this is the 019. This is the most commonly used, and it also comes in the widest color assortment. This is just a mixture of the colors that Softflex offers in the medium. I picked some of my favorite colors that I use and that I thought just looked really nice together. We've got our dark blue lapis, tanzanite, a purple amethyst, a pink tourmaline, copper, antique brass, and my very favorite of all-time color, turquoise. We have these all in 10-foot spools, but we also at Softflex carry them in 30-foot and 100-foot spools. Here on Whatnot, we have them available in 10-foot spools. You'll notice when you look in the shop, everything is rounded down. So you are getting a discount on any item that you buy here on Whatnot because you have to have whole numbers. You can't, for example, something can't be $13.79. And if it was $13.79, we rounded it down to $13. So every single item has a discount. And some items, like the bundles, were already discounted, and they got just a little bit of an extra discount here on Whatnot. Hey, I see Kate Richberg just joined. It's like her ears were burning. I just mentioned you, Kate. I was telling them how you love 014 and you use it for pretty much everything, even though I'm always trying to get you to use 019. Okay, so here's our 024. This is our thickest diameter of Softflex beading wire. So this is what we suggest for abrasive materials like African trade beads, large gemstones, things that are really heavy, but also things that are just really abrasive, like big crystals, anything that's going to be really hard on the wire. This is 0.024 inch, 0.61 millimeter if you prefer the millimeter size. It's the thickest Softflex or Soft Touch that we carry. And look at that. It's got a test strength of 40 pounds. And that's actually lowballing it. I've seen tests come back where it's closer to like 65 pounds before it snaps. And that is a running like 65-pound child could rip it from something. Like it's really, really strong. So this is our main product. And this is what we started with 30 years ago, Softlex beading wire. But over the years, we've added lots of other products too. We are jewelry designers at Softlex Company. So we have beads, we have findings, we have craft wire, we have just about anything you can imagine. So it was very hard to curate a little section of things to show you for today and for the Bead Bonanza. But I think what we put together is pretty good and kind of gives you an overall view of who we are as a company. One of the things that we put in is this check glass bead bundle. And I'm not sure, since this is a test, I'm going to start poking around on these buttons, but I'm not sure if I had someone here who could possibly help me showcase each product. That might be helpful. If there's a way to like show a link to what I'm showing, that would probably be really helpful for Thomas or Kristen to kind of poke around and see if that's possible. You can pin an item. So maybe as I'm doing it, you could pin the item that I'm showing, if that would work. But I'm not able to on the app with you. Maybe that's where being a moderator would be helpful. You know, if you were your own separate moderator. Thomas and Kristen are in the background helping me with this test to figure out how we can best do this for the Bead Bonanza, which is kicking off 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, doing my calculations, on Friday morning, and we are kicking the whole thing off. This is a really nice check bead bundle. Yeah, and this is discounted 30% when you buy all of the 5 strands in the bundle. Hit the little shop button in the bottom. Okay, I'm going to give it a try. Let's find it. It says start auction though. Oh, let me try pin. How's that look? Did I do it? Yay! There it is. There is the bead bundle. If you want to take a closer look, that's what it looks like. I'm going to use one of these strands today. I was kind of looking at this purple. You can't really tell it's purple on here. I was looking at this purple strand, which I'm just in love with. And I was thinking about using that today to make a bracelet with all of you, especially anyone who's brand new to Softlex. I wanted to make sure that we could, you know, the Softlex way of making things. Okay, so we got that. Let's look at these other bead bundles and then we'll get moving on that bracelet. I pulled out a bunch of these awesome ceramic beads. So I recently got this big thing from a bead warehouse. This is a tiny amount of them that we were doing a giveaway with. Just a huge tote full of these Peruvian ceramic beads in every shape, color, I don't know, everything you can imagine. And we've been making really sweet little bead mixes with them. So I went through my big bead mix here. Let me go and show you what that looks like. I went through my big bead mix here and I picked out some yellow ones to use with my design today. Here is, we have 3 different sizes. Oh, someone pinned it. Who did that? It's like a ghost. Oh, good. You figured it out. Okay. That will help make my life so much easier. Thank you so much, Thomas. Okay. So we've got 3 different sizes. We've got this a dainty little so sweet size that I love. I think the middle size is maybe called a treat. And then the big size, I can never remember the name of it. It's like a gigantic one. So we went through the beads and we made bead mixes for you. And we tried to pair things together that would kind of make sense, but they're not perfect. It's like a scoop that has been curated for you. So we have those available too. And I grabbed one of those, I grabbed some of those out of my bigger bead mix and pulled out some of these really pretty yellows because I thought that would possibly look really fun with that purple. So I'm going to be using those today. And then I was thinking, well, poor Thomas. I picked 30 items because that's the minimum you have to have for a show. And then I was like, but I'm also going to need a clasp. And so then I added on these. I added on these ellipse clasps from Tierra Cast, which come in 5 different metals. So it was 5 more items. And then once I got that done, here's the 5. You can find these. You can find these in the listing as well. Once I got that done, then I was like, but I also kind of want to have a charm. So then he had to run back and he added these awesome charms for me so that I have some options to choose a charm. So let's open this up. I'm going to use, these are our crimp tubes from Softflex Company. These are pretty awesome. They're double the wall thickness of most on the market. They're extra thick and they're just really well made. They're solid tubes and they work super well. They come in a black, they come in a gold, they come in a copper, and then dabbing Thomas's forehead. Thankfully, I'm using them. Can you imagine if I didn't end up using it too? That might really kill him. Thank you, Bead Place. They are really good crimps. And they come in sterling silver. These are actually sterling too. They're just oxidized. So we have this package also available if you want to pin it as I'm talking about it. In our Whatnot shop today. I'm going to use these to attach my clasp. So I think I might go with silver because I have the silver jump rings right here, and that's just going to make my life a little easier. Let's grab a silver. I'm going to grab some silver crimps. I've got a pair of cutters and I've got a pair of magical crimpers. So if you've never ever made a bracelet with Softflex before, here is the rundown on how this works. The first thing is pick your wire. You want to pick something that is going to be strong and is going to last you through the ages, right? So I'm going to pick at least a 49 strand. I can pick regular Softflex medium in any color, or I could pick the 024. Which is better? 024 is stronger. It is probably a better bracelet material. So if you have someone out there you're making a bracelet for and they break everything, 024 is probably going to be what you want. I'm going to go with the purple Softflex because I love the color. I love color. It only comes in the 019. 019 is still really strong. This bracelet's going to last ages even if I put it on the 019. So I'm going to go for it. Okay, there's text at the bottom of the screen, so make sure I'm working up here. Is that what you're telling me? I'll do my best. Okay, so I'm going to unspool some of my wire. Let me see if I can. Let me adjust. Let me adjust closer. Maybe that would help too. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull some Softflex off. A lot of times if I'm doing something, I might just string right onto my spool. In this case, I'm probably going to cut it free because I'm not quite sure Not quite sure what I'm making yet, right? So let's just pull it out. If you have a bead stopper, I didn't load these into the shop. I could, there's this lightning button, but I'm a little nervous about that. Thomas will have to figure out the lightning button. You can add things while you're doing it, but we didn't add these, but these are really handy. It's a little bead stopper. It's just going to go clip right on there, and then I can start stringing my beads onto my wire. Let's free this strand, beautiful strand of purple beads, and start thinking about what we want to do here. I love these yellow beads. I'm loving these star beads. I'm thinking that might be a really nice centerpiece. So let me just pull this off, and I'm just going to be really careful not to, well, who knows? I might drop all my beads, but we'll just restring them if that happens, right? I'm going to do a purple bead on either side. I usually like to use a little bit of a metallic spacer bead, but if I had asked Thomas to add one more thing, I think that would have been one too many. So I don't get spacer beads. Oh, Sue says to swipe left and the comments go away. So be aware that's an option. Yeah, let's try it, Thomas. This is all about testing and figuring it out so that we are ready for the big event on Friday. I hope you guys are all going to come to the Bead Bonanza and cheer us on. We would love to see you there. And I'm just doing a basic bracelet, nothing too remarkable about it, other than these fantastic, fun little beads that I get to use. I love using colors like purple and yellow together. I think they just are so fun, bright. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to just do something simple so that we can show you crimping. And I imagine many of you are beaders and have already done this, but I also imagine there's a whole lot of people on Whatnot who stumble on these videos and have just never even thought to make their own jewelry before. And I'm hoping we can make that just a little easier for them. So I'm going to test my size. That's where these bead stoppers are really handy, because old fumble thumbs here often will end up dropping everything. Okay, now I'm going to grab my crimp tube, and this is fundamental. So I talked a little bit about how strong these crimps are. Let me tell you why that's important, though. So especially if you're brand new to this little tiny, if I can get them out of here, this little tiny crimp tube looks just like not that important, right? Just a little tiny thing, but it holds together the whole design. If the crimp tube is not a good quality crimp tube, it will just fall apart, or it'll come apart later when you're at a dinner party and your beads all go flying. I taught a class once years ago, and it was a crimping class. And I made the mistake of telling everyone, you can bring your own crimp tubes. I gave them a supply list, I think, and the crimp tubes were on there. I've always used Softflex crimp tubes. I had never come across the idea that there were so many terrible crimps out on the market, and there really are. And oftentimes people will blame themselves when their crimp tube fails, instead of blaming the crimp tube for being just a really not great crimp tube. So if you're buying them at a craft store, usually bead stores are pretty diligent about good quality materials, but some of the craft stores out there, like the big box stores, they sell some pretty inexpensive, but also faulty crimps. So make sure you're getting good crimps from a good source that you can trust. And that way you're going to be able to have a design that's not going to snap and break. So I strung my wire through that crimp tube into this beautiful ellipse clasp, which you can find in our shop as well, and then back down into the tube like that. I'm going to grab my magical crimping pliers, which are also in our shop today. And it's got like a little half dome on each side that is identical. This crimp tube fits right into that dome. And when you compress it the first time, you get what looks like a little four-corner ravioli, like the raviolis that you eat at dinner. If you've done it correctly, that's what it'll look like a little square. Then you come in the other direction and compress in those four corners. And then this is how it looks the next time, just a little softer. Then you just keep going around it, kind of turning and compressing. And what you're doing is you're compressing the edge of the crimp tube down into the nylon coating of the wire until it looks like a beautiful little round bead. We're going to take this and just snip. Now, if you've got a good quality crimp tube, good beading wire, and you've crimped it properly, you can cut it right off at that crimp tube and it's going to hold. Thank you, everybody who's saying such nice things about our crimps in the comments. I'm seeing you, and I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, now I'm going to just go ahead and string down. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So the trickiest part of having big long beads like this is making sure that you keep your flexibility in your design. Because if I were to crimp this as tight as I could up to that bead, it wouldn't want to be flexible. It would be tight. So you want to make sure that when you do the second side, you're going to string your crimp tube on. You're going to go into your toggle bar. You're going to come all the way down to that bead. Straighten out your toggle bar so you're connecting to it properly. And then what I usually do is I kind of hold it up to make sure I'm building in enough space for flexibility. And then I can sort of cinch this closer to that bar, if that kind of makes sense. This is also going to have extra wiggle room because this bead has such a big hole. It's going to slide back and forth really easily, which is pretty sweet. I like that. Okay, so on this side, I'm also going to straighten out my wires to the best of my ability. You need 4 hands to do this properly, but we're going to do it with 2. And then compress. I know, I love these star beads. They're so cute. They're interspersed in those bead mixes, the ceramic bead mixes, which you can find in our Whatnot shop. So same thing as before. I'm just going to kind of go around compressing around the whole thing. So perhaps you've been here on Whatnot buying beads and maybe a little unsure what you're even supposed to do with all of them. So here is the ticket. Some soft flex beading wire, some crimps, some beautiful ceramic beads, and check glass crystal beads. And then you've attached your clasp, your toggle clasp that just can go in and out. I love these big toggles. They're really easy to put on, and they come in 5 different metal tones, which I love as well. Now let's attach a little charm. So I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use. So Sweet Thomas put both of them on for me. A big thank you to Thomas and Kristen for all the hard work they put in to getting this Whatnot page up and running. They have done so much to make it happen. We really appreciate you. Okay, so we could do the Buddha charm, or we can do this moon and star charm. Which is your preference? Tell me in the comments. What do you think would be the better fit? I was kind of thinking the moon and star charm, since I have stars in there. It would make kind of a nice fit. But then at the last minute, I was like, ooh, but the Buddha would be really cute too. The moon and star, it's a theme. I think you're right. I think you got it just right. Okay. So I just heard beads fall, and I'm like, where did that come from? So I'm going to open up this jump ring. I've got my my magical crimping plier here that I often use like a chain nose plier. It's like a little mini chain nose plier. Open up your ring. You always want to open it from side to side, not outward, or you'll lose that beautiful round shape that it's got. We go ahead and slip that on, and then slip onto our little finding here. And you can add more than one charm if you want to too. You could add a little bead dangle if you wanted to. In fact, I have one little bead left. Maybe we'll add that onto there as well, using some soft flex. So what's nice about soft flex is it's not just used for stringing, at least not by me. It's used for all sorts of other things as well. I use it to make components like jump rings, connectors, all sorts of stuff. So in this case, I'm going to make a little connector with this bead, and I won't need too much wire for it. I'm going to grab another one of these crimps out of my crimp bin. And remember, you can grab those crimps today right here on Whatnot. It's this multi-pack that we have loaded into the shop. You'll also be able to purchase from us on Friday. So if you want to just hang out and watch today, that's totally fine as well. I'm going to take those same crimping pliers. I just made a little loop, not because I need a loop. I don't need a loop, actually. I'm going to cut it off. But to get a good solid connection on my crimp, it helps when there's 2 wires. So I just made a loop just to make it easy on myself, because I'm essentially going to make a soft flex head pin. I'm going to trim off right at the edge of that crimp tube. And then this little bit here. So now all I've got is a little crimp and my wire, and I can add my bead here. Now I could add this bead. I could also do, I'd probably need to put something underneath it though, because it's got a too big of a hole. But you can add other beads as well. Maybe even a couple beads if you wanted to. And then I'm just going to grab another crimp tube. Awesome! You did it! I'm so excited. Thank you for your purchase of the magical crimper and the crimp tubes. Sweet. Yeah, I should say everything is limited in quantity here on Whatnot because we had to figure out how to bring inventory over to just Whatnot. So we had to split our inventory for our website, softluxcompany.com, and here on Whatnot. So if you want the deal, and I think they're doing $2 shipping possibly on Friday. Yeah, I would kind of shop early, right? Because there's limited amounts of everything. Yes, just available during the live today and Friday. We are not putting it into the marketplace because of the same inventory issue. And just we're not prepared to monitor sales outside of doing a live sale. Here we go. So there I added that little drop, and then I can go in and trim. And there we go. Now we have 2 little charms hanging off of that sweet little bracelet. Super cute, super easy. Our wire is just a lot of fun to play with. I have a few things I brought along to show you. Let me clean up my table, my workspace just a little bit. In addition to this project, some of the other bead bundles that we put into the shop are this beauty, which are melon drops. They're really pretty. There's 5 different colors of the melon drops. I'm going to leave that over there for right now. 5 different colors of the melon drops. They are 30% off when you buy them in the bundle. So you get an extra special deal. And again, we rounded down everything on Whatnot. So everything is just a little cheaper here than you would find it on our website. So I got these drops, both styles. I bought them when Tierra Cast came out with this sweet little component. It's called a cathedral connector. And I just absolutely fell in love with them. They came out with them at the beginning of the year. They're part of their Keep the Faith collection. We have a few things from their Keep the Faith collection, including that charm that I just showed you in the live show today and for Friday. But I fell in love with these connectors. And so I immediately started looking for drops that I could make drop earrings with, because I could just imagine how pretty they were going to be. I'm trying to grab a couple samples over here. Oh, I got them all. I was looking for something that I already had in my hand. So, for example, when we got them in, the first thing I wanted to do was drop those drops from these beautiful chandelier pieces. They turned out so nice. This is also a component from that Keep the Faith line. We are out of stock on the gold, but we have the copper and the silver available. So this is a post. I think it's called the Reina post. It's really pretty. You do have to get a backing for it. I think maybe we started putting backings on it just for free in the warehouse, but I haven't checked in on that. But you just connect it with a jump ring. And then these are all done with our Softluxe craft wire, which I'll talk a little bit more about on Friday, because I will be opening one of our leftover midsummer market kits from the Great Bead Extravaganza. And it has craft wire in it that I plan to use for my project on Friday. So that's the first earring using those parts. And I knew I knew I was going to need drops this year. 2023 is the year of the drops. As soon as these chandelier pieces hit the market, look at the silver. So pretty. I wore these like 3 times this week. Already. I wear these chandelier earrings all the time. Yeah, I had them on just plain ear wires, and Kristen suggested I put them on the Raina posts, and they look good. And actually, I feel like this will connect to my ear better and just feel a little better. They aren't super heavy, but they're a heavier earring from what I normally would wear. So they're just a little bigger than what I would normally wear. And I feel like these earring posts just really help kind of stabilize it and not leave it feeling too weighty. So those are going to be a perfect pair. Either of these drop bundles and these chandelier parts are going to be super fun to play around with. And then I have this piece too. There are Raina connectors. We do not have them in the sale today, unless Thomas has learned somehow at lightning speed to add things when I show them and they're not for sale. And we've got a drop that can hang down from that as well. So if you like a simpler design, Kristen knows how to do the quick add. What? Now I can really throw you guys for a loop. Oh, now I can just start grabbing things left and right that weren't planned for. Oh, the freedom to drive my coworkers bonkers. So anyway, this is a simpler version, which also works really well and would look great with any of these pieces. Like a little drop down from that Raina post is going to be so pretty in any color. Like, look at how elegant that black would be. Very cool. Right, exactly. Yeah, if you've got great components, you don't need a lot, to make that piece feel really, really special. Okay, so last but not least, before I leave you today, I'm going to just quickly show you some the benefits of Softlex beading wire. I do have one more bundle before I get going too fast. These are arabesque beads, also from the Czech Republic, and we are also doing them in a bundle as well. And those would look cute with any of these fun components too. Having that little arabesque bead hanging down would be really pretty. I love the color selection in those too. I think we did a really good job with that. Since some of you are new to Softlex, and you can find all of 3 of those bundles in the shop, all 3 bundles are 30% off and then rounded down. This is your best deal on the bundle that we've ever offered. Since some of you are new to Softlex, I thought I would do a little bit of a show and tell and talk about how amazing it is that not only can you string with Softlex, you can also use it to do many other things, one of which is braiding. You can take 3 strands of Softlex and make a really interesting textured braid. Here is just a single loop of it that's crimped with some craft wire wrapped over the top of it. If you bundle a bunch of those, maybe add some seed beads in your braid, attach it all together with a little charm, you've got a fantastic little bundle of bracelets that will fit over your hand. They're very colorful, they're lightweight, and they're super duper pretty. And then you've got that little sparkly guy there to like really make it extra special. So because it comes in so many colors, it's kind of fun to play with those color combinations and see what you come up with. Here's another version. In this one, we've got actually a whole strand of beads strung on soft flex. And then we've got a really fun set of little moon charms. Perfect to add to the live show. I'm just teasing Kristen and Thomas. You're just watching, right? You're not here to do anything extra. So again, that'll slip right over my hand, that bundle of bracelets, and it's quick and easy. So one of the things that we do to make it easy to get these fun color palettes like purple and tanzanite and maybe a third color is we've come out with something called our trios. And it is like 3 colors that we think really complement each other and would work together as a color palette. Like this would probably make a great trio. I only have one trio here with me today on this show. It's a brand new trio that we had just come out with that matches one of our monthly kits, which is something I'm going to talk about at great length on Friday if you join us. We do themed kits and we do some event kits. For an event on Facebook called the Great Bead Extravaganza, and also some jewelry making party kits with our friends at Jesse James Beads. So we have all sorts of fun kits, and they almost always have a theme and a colorway. And then if we can, we make a trio that matches it. So this particular trio is called our Moroccan Bazaar trio. This is available in our marketplace right now. I see Thomas or Kristen posted it. It's the bone, the garnet, and the copper. And these 3 colors would marry very well if you were doing a design like this where you want those 3 colors to work together. Oh, it's just Kristen now. Okay. But also they're 3 separate colors that are beautiful all on their own. Bone is actually one of our most beautifully neutral colors. It's not like pure white, which we also have. So it doesn't stand out like white. It kind of mixes in really easily with just about anything. And then the garnet, which is almost a cranberry color. So it works at different times of the year. Like it's a great fall color, but it's also a fantastic Valentine color. It's a great Christmas color. So depending on what it's matched with, it's going to give you different vibes. Like right now with this, it's giving me a fall vibe. But if I matched it with green, like 2 greens or green and white, it's going to feel very Christmassy. And then last but not least is the copper in this trio. So none of these are anything but regular soft flex, stainless steel centered soft flex, 49 strands of steel braided together. The color is in the nylon coating. So even the copper, it's not copper wire. It's stainless steel wire that has a copper colored coating. But these 3 come together in a bundle, and you do get a discount anytime you buy a trio. There's a discount automatically built in. Oh, good. Yeah. Sue says bone is her go-to color, and Kristen loves bone. She also really likes the dark blue that I was showing you just a little bit ago. Okay, I'm running lower and lower on time. I'm trying to keep it within an hour, even though I can gab on and on forever and ever. We talked a little bit about 014 at the beginning of this program, and I said I used it for an African helix. Is it African helix or is it Russian? I think this is Russian spiral, actually. Yeah, so this is our soft flex beading wire, stainless steel beading wire, strung through these beads to create this woven bracelet. And because it's woven, it again slides just right over my hand onto my wrist. And someday I will teach an online class of this. I've only taught it in person so far because I've been nervous because the beginning is just a little tricky and I'm a little nervous to do it online. Maybe like a Zoom where people can ask questions. And then I've got, this is a tighter weave, so smaller seed beads, whereas this was bigger bugle beads and cubes, but also will just roll right onto my wrist. What's great about Soft Flex is you can tie a knot in it and it will not lose any strength where it's knotted. A lot of products out there that have come out since Soft Flex first established itself cannot tell you that. They will snap and break where they're knotted much more easily than Soft Flex beading wire will. And that's what allows things like this. Like I knotted the ends and glued them. And that's how I finished it off on both of these. So we've talked about braiding. We've talked about weaving. We have to talk about knitting, right? This is one of my favorite ways to use Soft Flex beading wire. These are all done on a knitting spool. And again, it's sort of springy because it wants to retain that straight shape. Whenever you do anything with it, it kind of makes round circles, or it'll go in a circle like this in that bead weaving project. And this will go right over your hand as well. You don't even need a clasp, although you could do a clasp if you wanted in the center. So there is another sort of project. This is 014 2 colors. This is 019 1 color. But another reason why you might want some of those colors to sort of play around with them. And as I was saying about the knotting, I for years said that you could not knot Soft Flex between beads, and I thought it was true. But then Miss Danielle Wicks from John Bead came along, and she taught me differently. You can knot between beads. It's amazing. And again, you do not lose any strength or durability where the wire is knotted. Now, does it knot perfectly straight? No, it's a stainless steel product. But does it look beautiful all the same? Absolutely. I wear this design all the time. And I think it looks terrific. So you can do all sorts of stuff with this product besides just stringing, which we covered, at the very beginning. All sorts of, you can kumihimo with it. Look at that. I did this in a Great Bead Extravaganza, which I mentioned earlier is a Facebook group. It's an event that I attend 4 times a year with Soft Flex Company. And this was one of my projects that I did for one of our big events. And this is all kumihimoed Soft Flex. It's the tanzanite, the purple amethyst, the yellow, and the pink tourmaline. Isn't that interesting that you can do all those interesting things with a beading wire? So, and then I just have this fun little bead strand at the bottom attached by some clasps. So hopefully the takeaway today is that this is a really fantastic product. It's very versatile, comes in lots of different diameters, but also many different colors. And it's well worth checking out. These are just 10-foot spools. They're not a big buy to try it if you've never tried it before. So maybe put a little bit of, put a little one of these in your shopping cart. Maybe add some of those crimps, see if we're blowing smoke up your chimney or not, or if they really are that much better. I think they are. Grab some of those. Maybe look at one of those ceramics packages in the different sizes. Now, the beads are not going to all be exactly the same. Again, like you may get a couple that are similar. You may get some that are the same color, but different shapes because it came from a big bead mix. Maybe even get a big one, you know, grab some of those. Maybe grab a bead bundle or two, like those fantastic drops. We used the purple today for our bracelet. Purple, a beautiful garnet, kind of a tanzanite color over here, turquoise and a black. Great little bead bundle there. Some melon drops. Those arabesque beads, which I barely got to even scratch the surface on how fantastic these are. And there's a great little colorway there. And then all those cool findings, you know, that we were admiring. So all those things are in the shop. You can check them out as long as I'm live today. We may at some point be able to put things into the marketplace, but not yet. We've got to do a little more testing and figure out the process and see how this goes. We normally do live sales on Facebook. In fact, we have one running right now. My intention is maybe we would move those live sales over here if it is easier on the customer and easier on us to process the sale more quickly. So that's a big reason that I'm testing this new app, new to us, not brand new, but new to us. And maybe that is a possibility in the future that we would be selling some of our one-of-kind gemstones. We have so many beads in our gallery that we don't put on the website because they're too unique or a certain price point where you really need to see them in order to feel like you can purchase them. So we'll see. We'll see how it all works out, but I'm sure hoping that I'll see you on Friday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern here on Whatnot for the Bead Bonanza. We will have more things to show you. I'm going to really deep dive into our kits on Friday. I have one of the kits from Great Bead Extravaganza Midsummer Market that we ended up having extras at the end that we didn't know we were going to have because of a faulty inventory count. So I have a few of these for sale, and I'm going to be opening it and using it on Friday for a design and just generally talking about all of our themed kits and event kits and things. So hopefully you'll join us. And if you signed up, hopefully you got that really nice extra $15 that you get to use for any of the vendors at the Bead Bonanza. That should be helpful too. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. If you want to learn more about us, please do go check us out. We're at softflexcompany.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. We are in all of the places. So now I have to figure out, how do I even turn this thing off? End show. That looks right. Thank you for being with us for our test run today. We so appreciate all of you. Have a great Wednesday evening, and I'll see you again on Friday morning.